Oh, yeah.
All right. What is up, guys? Welcome back to the channel, getting you back on the grind and improving your mind every single video with new content. So, guys, make sure you subscribe to the channel if you have not already, and make sure you hit the like button if you have not already to this video. So, today's live is going to be about one of the saddest movies that we've ever seen, and one of the saddest movies that you should see and maybe educate you. It's called The Whale. You might have heard of it. Brendan Fraser recently won an Oscar for Best Actor for his performance in this movie. And there's a reason why. There is a reason
Oh,
why.
man, there is a reason why. Jesus.
Mike actually just watched
I
it, and
just
I
finished
watched it
watching
like a couple days ago. So this is fresh off the minds of us, and we're gonna go into the movie, guys. As I said, make sure you guys hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. So yeah, this movie is pretty. So we did watch it, and I'm happy to say I did. And it's also, the movie is very sad.
Very,
It's
very
not
sad.
a movie. If you're trying to go on a date with your girl and try to have really good sex after, don't watch this movie.
Please. Oh, my God. This would ruin
Yeah,
everything.
because you will not be able to get a boner for probably like a week after watching this movie. So definitely, if you're like in a relationship and you're trying to have movie night, date night, and you're trying to smash after, don't watch this movie first. This is a movie that you should watch if you're feeling a little sad, need a little motivation. If you want to watch someone's life that's definitely worse than yours,
Yeah.
definitely, then this movie would be good. It's also good if you just want some entertainment. And if you're a big fan of anxiety, if you're a big fan of crying, if you're a big fan of hating yourself, this movie is perfect for you. If you guys are really feeling down yourself, just watch this movie. And not only will you feel more down on yourself for a few minutes, you might just get motivated to change your life after. So we're going to play the trailer for you guys so you guys know kind of what we're talking about. And we're going to break down some of the scenes in the trailer as well
Yeah.
that are
So let
actually in
me
the movie.
let me pull this up for you all so you guys can watch along, and we'll start playing it.
I know these rules can feel constraining, but remember, the point of this course is to learn how to write clearly and
Hit the pause button
persuasively.
real quick. Actually, let's just talk about what this image means, right? So basically, because in the intro of the movie, he's a teacher, instructor, a college instructor, but it's through these online classes, which reminds me of years of 2020 and 2021 when people got dumber because of a scam that was going on that we're not going to talk about in this video. And but this movie is actually set in 2016. So and there were online courses going on before 2016. So this movie is so he is but he's afraid to show his face. I kind of want to break down. I want to break down right now, but we're gonna. Is it in your notes?
What?
But like him being hiding behind the scene.
Kind of.
Yeah. So we're gonna talk about a little bit about that when the trailer's over. Let's keep watching the trailer.
Yeah.
Think about that. Think about the truth of your argument. You're an amazing person, Ellie. I couldn't ask for a more incredible daughter.
Are you actually trying to parent me right now?
Who would want me to be a part of their life?
You don't stay in touch with Mom?
She really only tells me things about you.
Why?
Because that's all I want to know about.
Why'd you gain all that weight?
Someone close to me passed away, and it had an effect on her.
You haven't seen her since she was 8 years old and you're gonna reconnect with her?
Sorry.
I don't like this. This isn't a good idea.
I'm sorry.
You say you're sorry one more time, I will shove a knife right into you. I swear to God.
Go ahead. What's it gonna do? My internal organs are 2 feet in at least.
Why do you suddenly need to see her so bad? Why now?
Liz. I'm worried that she's forgotten what an amazing person she is. I need to know that she's gonna have a decent life where she cares about people and that she's gonna be okay. I need to know that I have done one thing right with my life.
wow.
Right. Yeah.
The movie pretty much gives away the majority of the movie.
Yeah, actually.
The
But we're going to
trailer.
talk about, by the way, full spoilers of the movie ahead. So I want to just get right into it because this is actually very important. So the movie starts like with him hiding from the world. He's automatically hiding from the world. This dude, and you don't even see in the trailers how big he really is. He is a whale.
He's
He's
a
a
big
whale.
dude.
When I
He's a
when
big
I call
boy.
people a whale to motivate them to go to the gym, this is literally like what I mean in like a bigger scope. Like it's literally a whale when he stands up.
Yeah.
But why, you know, so in the beginning, like I was saying before, in the beginning of the movie, he's literally hiding behind a screen, which many of you guys in the comments section, a lot of YouTube videos, you guys be hiding behind the screen. You would never say that stuff in real life. Just saying. So he's hiding behind a screen, literally not even showing his face. Kind of reminds me of a lot of those Anon accounts on Twitter, right? Kind of the people who
Yeah.
never did talk all the shit on in the comment section, but they never would show themselves or say anything like that in real life. Anyway, he's hiding behind a screen. He's very afraid to show himself because he's super insecure, obviously. Now, why is he like this in the movie? Well, it says in the movie that he lost, well, in the beginning of the movie, he's jerking off to gay porn. So
Yeah.
there's that. And
Starting the
literally
movie off
right as soon as the movie starts, he's going nuts.
Yeah, starting the movie perfectly.
And
with
so he basically is not being himself in the camera because he's literally not even showing himself. And I was saying that the reason that he is a little bit bigger now because he ate a lot of food after the passing of someone he was in love with. It was like and it was another guy, and he passed away. So he started eating like crazy, binge eating, and he ended up like he was. So automatically, you can learn that a lot of people these days they do hide themselves from the world, and that's one of the big takeaways from the beginning is that this character is automatically afraid to show himself to the world and be, he literally eats himself to the point where he can't go outside. He can't even walk outside without the walker.
Yeah, or even a wheelchair or anything like that. He pretty much puts himself in like such a depression to where he just binge eats and he just sits down and watches movies and eats a lot of calories at one time. And because like he'll always have like pizza delivered to his house and it'd be like 2 large pepperoni and whatever else pies, and like you just see him like eat like 2 or 3 slices at one time, like all stacked on each other and shit, and eat them. It's some crazy stuff. And like people people will do that. Like I mean, you can watch like, what is it, My Billion-Pound Life, and see these people like actually do that, and they're just these huge human beings, and it's just not natural. And it's mostly because that these people they go through some sort of trauma and they let themselves get this way, and it's very, very sad. It's very sad. And in the beginning of the movie, like we were saying, he was like jerking off to gay porn or whatever, and I guess he finishes, and at the same time he finishes, some random kid comes in trying to be like a Jehovah's Witness, and pretty much saves his life by reading a paper to him, which comes back later towards the end of the movie. And pretty much him reading this paper, him listening to the paper makes him like calm down, and because like he has like, I guess I don't remember exactly the term that they use, but it's pretty much like congestive heart failure or congestion heart something. Where so like anything like that, like any type of, I guess, excessive heart activity, like he pretty much just gets close to like a cardiac arrest pretty much because he's just so fat. Yeah, it's very very bad.
Yeah, he's automatically, this guy's been, you could tell he's been through a lot of pain. And a lot of people can relate to this because a lot of people, they do hide themselves from the world and they eat, right? They binge eat because they're very sad about life. Now, a lot of people don't go out and try to tackle the world. They easily sedate themselves in their house when most of this movie does take place in this guy's house. A lot of dialogue, a lot of things. And he has a daughter, right? Because in the movie, he gets with this chick, has a daughter, right? And then he realizes, so I'm not really about this. And then I guess they separate. He separates from the girl, and then he goes after this guy instead. And then he falls in love with this guy. The guy dies, and now he's just alone. Now he has either one. He doesn't really see his daughter at all because he's an idiot, so he doesn't see his daughter. And of course, she builds resentment for him because, as we know, as you guys should know, without a lack of a strong masculine father, it breaks a little girl's heart. You know what I mean? Right. So
Yeah.
that's why we support moms and dads being together. So if you want to have kids, make sure you have kids with someone that you will know that you'll stay with and you're definitely attracted to. This guy did not know who he was, and he had this daughter when he should not have with this woman because it was not really who he was, or at least it was, but then he changed, and unfortunate circumstances happen. So there's that.
Yeah. And yeah, so with the daughter, Ellie, who's played by Sadie Sink, she's a pretty good actress, to be honest. She does a good job at like with those scenes where she like shows how she very much resents her dad, but at the same time, like she does it because that she knows that like when she was little, she really admired him and everything like that, because that's what you know that's what daughters do with fathers. And him showing his true colors by leaving, not really what to her at least looked like that he wasn't trying to ever like see her or anything like that. Like it made her over time just resent him and just not want to be like around him, or like she felt like that he didn't care about her, and so she had to try to build up a resentment as like some sort of like barrier to, or like her own type of shield in a sense. And she becomes like this to what other people feel like is like a weird person, where she like takes pictures of like dead dogs and shit like that and put it on the internet.
That's because she didn't have a strong dad to lead her and
Yeah.
help her out, and the mom raised her alone. And I guess you could say the movie is making a symbolized thing about like single parent households, but I don't really know about that. But it seems that I think a lot of children without both healthy parents, they go down spirals of different unfortunate personalities, and
Yeah.
it gets ugly, right?
Yeah, it does.
So the movie, you could say, is making a statement about that, but I don't think the director has ever really gone out and said anything about that. There's a lot of things going on. So this guy, he has a caretaker friend named Liz, who we learned about more throughout the movie.
Yeah. So yeah, eventually we find out. Well, we mostly find out through because of this guy that I was talking about earlier. This guy Thomas, who he's pretty much what you see him in the beginning. At least he says he's part of this group called New Life, which is like some sort of like off brand religion, off of like Christianity or whatever, and they talk about like the end of the world and stuff like that. But we find out later on that he actually left them, but still because that he wanted to actually help people, where the people that in New Life weren't really doing anything to actually help someone. They weren't actually going somewhere to help actively help people. They were just handing out like pamphlets and shit. And we find out that Liz, her brother, was part of this same group, uh, and he eventually, his life was succumbed pretty much by this group, and when he got out, he pretty much like lost everything and then died. And we find out that her brother is actually Alan, who is the boyfriend that passed of Charlie, who is Brendan Fraser's character. And so we find all of this out like midway through because of Thomas trying to help Charlie, and Liz not wanting Thomas to help him because of the whole background of New Life.
Yeah. You have a couple of different characters. Now, Brendan Fraser, there's a reason that he won the award for Best Actor, because he steals the show.
Oh yeah,
It's
100%.
not just about his appearance either. It's about the action, the acting,
the things that
itself
he
is
does
great.
and the things that he tries to do, even though he's super fat. Like he tries to get up and tries to get the key or whatever, and then falls, and he gets the amount of depression that he feels like because he can't grab it. And him fighting with everybody, pretty much fighting with everybody, or everyone fighting with him, and him trying to tell them how like how
I'm
he
sorry,
feels and
I'm
stuff
sorry,
like
I'm
that.
sorry. The whole movie's saying I'm sorry to everybody.
Yeah,
This guy is just
because like he knows
depressed.
he knows he's gonna die, because he knows that he's like way too far gone, like fat, and he knows that his body's not gonna be able to keep him alive anymore. So he's like, not only is he just depressed, he also knows that his time is running out, and he just says I'm sorry, whatever. Tries to still try to do things
Right.
independently, but he knows that he can't fully do that. And so has at one point in the movie, he has Thomas, because Thomas comes back, he has Thomas get the key for him that he was trying to grab earlier to open a door. And that door was actually, I guess his old bedroom that him and Alan would sleep in the house. And it's like in perfect condition, like there's no, like it looks like no one's been in there for fucking ever.
Yeah, literally
And
the
yeah.
whole movie takes place in this house, pretty much.
Oh yeah, I think the entire movie is just in the house. I don't think there's at any point in the movie where it's just not in the house. Even though in the trailer, like you could see like him like outside or something. Like I don't think that even happened. I don't even think that was even in the movie. I think they cut that out of the movie.
Yeah. And we got to talk about the big elephant in the room, of course, which is obesity, like morbidly obese and the effects it could have on someone. Now, people use food. Now, we're just going to get right into the nitty gritty because that's like the main thing of the movie. That's like the main, cause of his death at the end. He pretty much dies because he walks finally for the first time without the wheel thing. And he tries to walk to his daughter. And then at the end, he smiles and he looks up and bright light, movie's over. So he's dead. Pretty much.
Oh
He's
yeah.
gone.
I just hope he didn't fall on her.
Yeah, that would suck.
That would
suck for the character. But
R.I.P.
the main thing is like people use food as a coping mechanism to try to help them get through depression. And it's one of the worst things you can do instead of like meditation, which could help, going outside, seeing good people, trying to make moves and try to take actions that better improve your life. This guy did not do any of that. He ate until he literally just died. And it's really not funny because it's actually very sad because
one
people do that. People do this in real life. This is not a fictional story. I mean, it is in this case, but
in context, this specifically is a fictional story. But people in real life do this exact thing. And what really hit me was the scene towards the end where he literally just starts chewing and chomping down like on everything. I even have it in my notes where it says Charlie starts eating everything. He starts just he eats all the pizzas. He goes into the kitchen, starts grabbing like the bagels and whatever that he had, and the chips, and starts eating, and then he's throwing up, and he's just throwing up in the garbage can. I'm just like, wow. Like, I really like I could see people literally doing this.
Yeah, something happens to Charlie in which he literally, I guess, in an argument with someone. Who was it again?
I think it's because just before all that, just before he starts doing that, like the mom, like his ex-wife shows up, and like the and his daughter Ellie was there, and Liz was all there, and he got into a fight with pretty much everybody, and everybody like left him, and so he was just alone, which is pretty much the whole thing, where everything he's done has pretty much made him alone. And so he got to the point where he was just so mad and upset that he just started eating. He just started just going to town on eating every single thing that he had, and just started throwing up and everything.
Yeah, and a lot of people in general, they do that, and it's very sad because they don't know that there are different actions you can take instead of just eating yourself to death. Now, food, especially the way it's processed in America, food, especially like the sugary products and carbs, they make you feel good for a little bit, right? And people crave to feel good, so they'll go after all these foods and they just keep eating nonstop. People will binge at like midnight right before they go to bed just to feel good right before they go to sleep, and then in the morning they try to get that sugar and they try to start it all over again. And over time, this will obviously accumulate inflammation and obesity, and literally it causes health problems, and and it causes you to go down a spiral that a lot of times does lead to death. Obesity death is very high in America, one of the most obese countries in the world, unfortunately. So there's a lot of things going on with that. And this guy is literally a metaphor for a lot of people out there because people literally keep eating themselves to death. And it's going to cause your hospital bills can easily skyrocket from a few binge eating nights because of all the diabetes and all that kind of stuff. You guys got to be very mindful about what you're consuming because even if you're not obese, you can still be extremely unhealthy from eating all these processed foods. And it could lead to your death in many different forms of cancer and different kinds of sicknesses that you can get from eating these foods. So this movie really tells you how much food can really kill you. Food can kill you. Smoking can kill you. Drinking can kill you. Anything in too much can kill you. So you have to be very careful about the things you consume. And this guy uses food, just like many other people out there, uses food to cope with the fact that they hate themselves. The reason you guys hate yourselves is because you're not going out and living the way you think you can. And you're so down on yourself, you don't even think you can accomplish any goals you have. And you just lay down, you die, you just give up. And then your energy will spread into the world, and people are going to sense that you're the type that will give up, and they don't even want to associate with you. Then you get lonely, and then it all goes down from there. And then it gets even worse.
Yeah, I want to talk about Charlie, the character, away from him being the whale, because he's an interesting character, because other than the fact that he binge eating, but the cause of it, right? Because the guy, before any of that, he was a positive guy. He, super happy go lucky guy, and he was very much into art and writing and English, pretty much just English, in the English subject, because he was a teacher and stuff. And so um he he ended up leaving his wife because he was teaching a student, I guess, in night classes or whatever. This guy, Alan, of course, who we find out is Alan. And he leaves her for this guy. But before that, they she oh the wife was always like very pessimistic. She was always very negative, but he was always positive on
And that's
everything.
not, and yeah, and a positive and negative is going to turn into a negative anyway, right? You
Yeah.
guys don't want to be with people who will bring down your life. She was someone that was seemingly bringing down his life, and then he sought after literally the
Yeah.
opposite sex just to get a more compatible partner,
Yeah,
which he
and
did.
yeah,
So I
and
guess he's
so
bisexual. So
yeah, and so when it comes to everything with his daughter, when later in the movie, when him and his when Charlie and his wife Mary start talking about Ellie, she's like, she says, "Oh, Ellie is evil," and he's like, and he goes, she's a great writer." Like, you can tell that the character, he's very tragic, because he's a very positive guy, very outgoing guy, but when something very traumatic happens to him, it he shuts down. Everything just shuts down completely. What he did by leaving his wife was a sign of him leaving a bad situation. And granted, it was not the best way to leave a bad situation, but he did do it to make himself happy. And the thing that made himself happy, when that is now gone because it was tragically taken away from him, pretty much, now he's lost everything. And now this character, who was so happy and so positive, becomes very negative and starts doing negative actions, which we have been already talked about, was eating. But when now that Ellie, his daughter, has now come back into his life, now that positivity has come back. And even though he's a fat, disgusting thing, blob, sitting on that couch, when he sees his daughter, the positivity that who he was comes back. And that's what he wants to. And already knowing that he's going to die, he wants to make sure that his daughter has a good life, because he knows that he won't be there for her life, for at least for the majority of her life, because he knows that he's going to be leaving this earth soon.
yeah, exactly.
And it's very tragic, because this guy had such positive energy, who at least who he was, and to then just lose it so quickly, and then to do so many damaging things to himself, is very detrimental. And it just shows that the character itself is very very relatable, and also very tragic.
Yeah, and Charlie's also not a perfect character at all, because what he did, he messed up big time.
Oh yeah.
He didn't know who he was. So he had this daughter, right? And because he did that, he did not know who he was. He went off the spiral. He met up with this guy, ended up being with this guy. He completely abandoned his daughter. So the big mistake he made was, the biggest was abandoning his old family. So if you're a man and you have a daughter, right, you should probably be a dad, right? Because obviously, obvious stuff.
Obvious.
And due to his lack of fathership with this little girl, due to the fact that he was not there, she was not raised the best way she could have been, and she was very rude and disrespectful to him in the beginning, and she had a very bad attitude. And this is not her fault. This is Charlie's fault, because he was not there to give her leadership and guidance and be a dad and be an actual father. He was not around to give her a positive masculine role model. So I think a lot of little girls will end up a lot different because of their lack of a strong dad in their life. And that's the result. Very rude. She's coming off, very hardcore, but but it's not exactly her fault because the way she was raised without her dad in the picture, because he didn't see her for like most of her life.
Yeah, because like he left her when she was 8, I'm pretty sure.
Right.
And I think she's what, 17? 17 in the movie. So
it's a lot of years without
that's like,
guidance.
yeah, it's
And
like
her
almost 10
mom
years.
could not do everything at once because she needed Charlie there, but he wasn't there. And he left for this guy, which could mess up the little girl in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
And now she is a lot more, rude, and her personality reflects the lack of dad, which is a big problem we see in America right now. Lack of dads, and it's also kind of a message about that, because we did a video on Valuetainment, Patrick Bet David, and he was talking about America as one of the highest countries of single parent households, which basically means single mom, because most of the time the mom gets custody of the kids. So due to the breaking of the men and women kind of dynamics in America right now, we see a lot of fatherless homes, and then the nuclear family gets messed up and things go wrong. So you could also indicate the movie might be a little bit about that as well, unfortunately. So there's a lot of things going on in the movie that can play a part in real life, because this stuff does happen, unfortunately. And we can change that if we make good decisions for ourselves. If we can learn from movies like this and take these characters into consideration, and knowing that this could happen to us, we can make better decisions to make our lives better, right? If you're going to be with a woman and have kids with someone, make sure you're extremely compatible with them. And if you decide to have kids, make sure you're going to be in their life, because Charlie messed up. He was not too sure of who he was, and he made some bad decisions. He left his daughter in the dust, and she grew up a lot of her life without a dad, and there's some serious consequence to those actions.
Yeah, and then he tried making up for it in the end, but it was
last second.
pretty much at the last minute, like, and it was a little, in certain eyes it would be too late, but I feel like at least for her it wasn't, because at least towards the end of the movie, like, because the whole entire movie, she's pretty much just a complete douchebag. She's a complete asshole to him, right? She's telling him to die like multiple times in the movie. She drugs him, makes him fall asleep for like hours. And she berates him, which I mean is uh, like, other than the whole drugging and like telling him to die type of thing, like, other than that, I feel like it's just natural, because
There's a lot of resentment for this guy because he left her.
Because of the resentment, and like, it's understandable completely. All the other things, a little crazy, but
you cannot just leave your daughter and then expect her to come back like, oh, hi dad, missed you. Like, no, it's been 8 years. No, it's like,
it's pretty much all his fault. But like, he wants to make it right, because he knows he fucked up. He knows. And so he does whatever he could, because he also knows that he's probably not going to last long.
And
so he wants to try to, make amends to that. Make sure that he, like we saw in the trailer. He wants to make sure that was the one thing he did right in his life, is have a daughter that's that's gonna be good, and is gonna have a good life and stuff. And so that's the one thing he really was starting to care about.
Yeah, he literally.
And he, like, I mean, 8 years, losing like almost like 10 years of their life to like actually raise them and stuff kind of sucks. And now you got to play, pick up. You have to piggyback on like losing all that time. Kind of sucks, especially when they resent you very much so.
Yep.
But I feel like the movie does a good job in trying to like show that even when like the child resents the parent, like they still do have some sort of love for them, because that they are their parent. But you don't have to love them anymore, depending on the situation. Like, granted, like, she abandoned her when she was young, but I mean, they had like 8 years of like really good parent, father daughter time and stuff. So of course she's still gonna have that, she's still gonna have that love for him. because that was when she was, a little girl and stuff like that. So it made sense to where, towards the end of the movie before he dies, that like she decides to again read the essay that Thomas read in the beginning of the movie to make him calm down. And what's whole I'm gonna go off tangent right now because I think of this as like how George Lucas describes Star Wars. It's like poetry, it rhymes. And so in the beginning of the movie, he's having that fucking shit, and Thomas reads the essay and he calms down, right? And then he has it towards the end, and he tries to make Ellie read it, and she's literally about to leave. And the whole movie, the outside is like gloomy, and it's like raining most of the time, or it's just really ugly looking, and so it makes the movie very dark. But then, like at the end of the movie, and he's having this issue, and she literally just is like about to leave and about to walk out, and she opens the door, and the sun is shining. This is like the first time you see her in the light in the entire fucking movie. And then she realizes that like this is something that she needs to do, and so she does it, and it helps him get up and walk without needing any like needing any walker or anything like that. He just gets up and tries to do it because it this poem, this not poem, this essay pretty much like gives him something, because that she wrote it, and he loved the essay so much that it helped him move, like live and keep going. And it helped him get up and everything like that. Granted, he did die, but like I feel like the how that works is like, because this is all about like English and like essay writing and poetry and stuff like that, and it's pretty much poetry in the whole thing. I don't know where I was talking about that, but I just really like that.
Yeah, but there's a lot of things going on with all these characters. Even though there's not many characters, there's like 4 or 5, but it actually does say a lot, because these are harsh lessons that can be taken into the real world, right? Charlie is not the perfect character; he's not perfect at all. But in the end of his life, he does try to make some kind of, it's a little too late in some regards, but he at least tries to make amends for his wrongdoings. But it's just the way that the movie portrays like using food as the ultimate coping mechanism, which it is. I would also argue that TikTok and Twitter and a lot of social media, even watching YouTube videos all day and binging, that could be cope as well, because a lot of people, they shield themselves from the world. Just like we say, most of the movie does take place in this house. It's Charlie not only uses food as sedation, but he'll read, he'll do whatever. He never goes outside, he never tries to exercise, he never changes his dietary habits, and he ends up dying. Literally, a lot of people are like that. And the best thing you can do is take action immediately and eat a little bit healthier, a lot healthier, and start exercising. You don't need a gym to exercise. You could do stuff at home, and there's things you can do to get yourself back on track. But Charlie was basically in give up mode for years, and it cost him his life. And a lot of people laugh at that, but the truth is, it's actually very serious. And but the good news is, you can make a change right now. You don't have to be like Charlie. Literally, you do not have to be like that. You can save yourself now. And if you do feel like you're very overweight and stuff, you can actually make changes to reverse that right now. You can watch our videos on nutrition that we have, and there's so much information out there that you can go and get and make yourself better. But a lot of you're so far into sedation, just like Charlie was. This guy sedated himself to the point where he could not get up. And a lot of people who do that metaphorically, they might not be as fat as Charlie, but they literally sedate their mind so hard that they can't even get up from the couch. They cannot put the YouTube video down. They cannot put the TikTok streaming, the TikTok mindlessly scrolling for hours. They can't put it down. You guys get so addicted into the stuff that you have in your hand that you cannot even go outside, touch grass, go to the park, meditate. Like, there's so many, all the healthy habits you ditch for all the easy habits, all the habits that you could have that could be healthy, you replace with very unhealthy habits. And it costs you not only time, a lot of time that you guys waste. I will use that word waste. You guys waste time sedating yourself. You could be using that time to go out and make yourself better. Charlie decided in the movie The Whale, he decided to use his time to sedate himself. He decided to be a loser. No one forced him to abandon his family and eat himself to death, literally. He made that choice subconsciously, and that cost him and his loved ones a lot of pain, because now his daughter is going to grow up without a dad, unless she gets like a stepdad, unfortunately. And that's called the widow. because she kind of still liked him at the end, but it's too late, obviously.
Yeah.
And it cost the mom, it cost the daughter because now she has no dad. It cost
Liz. It cost
co-
Liz
cost
because
Liz. Now her friend's dead.
yeah,
so,
her friend and like the lover of her brother is dead.
right. So now she's who
Not
knows what
only
she's
is
gonna
her
do
brother
now.
dead, but now the lover of her brother is now dead.
Yeah,
So,
and then so all these characters now have to live with Charlie's bad decisions. That's why, like, if you make bad decisions for yourself, it could cost the energy of other people as well. Because the people that care about you and stuff, if you suffer, they're gonna think of you and they're gonna suffer with you, and you don't want that. So it's kind of interesting that if you make positive, healthy decisions for yourself, it's gonna affect those around you. Like Mike and I, we go to the gym, we take care of ourselves in every way possible. We're trying to become better. And in return, everybody that we interact with in real life soaks up that positive energy and our will to make things better. And they start taking healthy initiatives. And then we actually inspire those around us. But if you're extremely negative and you use sedation to the ultimate unfortunate measure, then the people around you are going to soak up that bad energy. And they're not even going to be around you because this is going to be too much negativity to be around.
exactly. And I feel like the ultimate winner of the entire movie is the guy Thomas. He literally just comes in, he pretty much touches everybody's life in some sort of way, and then like and the whole thing of why he's there in the first place, the whole purpose of him was like he was like from Iowa or something, and he left Iowa because again, he was part of the New Life stuff, but like he didn't like how the things were being run over there, and he stole money from them. He stole like over $2,000 and just like left, just up and left. And he ended up finding his way to, I think they're in Idaho, I think in the movie. And he goes into Idaho and he finds Charlie, and he wants to help Charlie because that was his purpose. His purpose was to actually physically help people and not, just hand out fucking shit and just be like, "Oh yeah, I'm totally helping somebody by giving them this piece of paper." He wanted to actually go and help people, which then had him meet Charlie's daughter, Ellie, and then for Ellie to, see through his bullshit through of like the New Life stuff or whatever, and
Yeah, because he
find
was a
out,
fraud as well.
yeah, and found out that what I just said, that he left and stole money or whatever, and he would smoke pot or whatever.
Oh
And
no, pot.
oh no. And so she goes and like records him talking about whatever, all the stuff, and she takes pictures of him, and she goes and she goes and puts in the effort to go and find like the church that he was part of and his family or whatever, and she sent them all the stuff. And apparently towards the end of the movie, Thomas comes back to Charlie and tells Charlie like all the stuff that Ellie did uh like for him, and that like his parents want him to come home, that they love him, they care for him, and they are going to accept him back and everything like that. And where he felt like uh he was pretty much pushed out, and he felt upset and abandoned, and like he had to leave because it was just a whole negative situation. But it ended up turning around and it was more of a positive, and so he leaves in a positive way. Like, because like after that conversation, like you never see him again in the movie. And that whole situation is also to show Charlie that Ellie is still a good person, even though how much of a bitch she was during 99% of the movie that she's in. It's supposed to show that she's still good, and so that's why he does the things that he does towards the end before he dies. um and he honestly, he wins because he got himself in there. I mean, granted, the whole situation was pretty fucked because like Charlie started berating him to make him say that Charlie is disgusting, which, I mean, yes, he is. He is very much disgusting because no one wants to actually say that fat people are disgusting, because it would hurt their feelings or whatever. Um, and he thinks that he can't go back home. He's just going to be alone, but he doesn't have to be. He doesn't have to be alone. He can go back home, and he can be with his friends and his family back at home, where Charlie became alone, and people started coming back, but they don't accept him because of the actions that he made. But they still love him, but they can't accept him. And so Thomas wins in the end, and Charlie, I guess, was a catalyst for that. And I mean, well, technically Ellie, but Charlie is the catalyst because he's the whole purpose of the movie. And that's what Charlie wanted. He wanted everyone to he wanted to feel like he wanted to have that feeling, but he pretty much died before it really could happen.
Yeah, we also have to talk about asking for help because one of the main things people will say when they first watch the movie, how come Charlie didn't go to the hospital? Well, that's what they'll say, like when they watch the trailer and not the movie. How come Charlie didn't go to the hospital and get help immediately? Well, the thing is, he didn't have health insurance, right?
Yeah.
So in America, if you don't have health insurance, especially in New Jersey where we are, and I know about this, there is a penalty for not having health insurance. They'll take it out of your taxes. So that's some bullshit. We can go. I don't want to even go to that rant today. Whatever. Our country's fucked, but whatever. Yeah, so Charlie he has no health insurance, so he's afraid to go to the hospital and rack up debt. Well, first of all, I just want to say the reason that he got into this situation in the first place because of him. He decided to eat like a whale, and he became a whale because he kept eating himself. And then he complained he wasn't complaining, but he's like, I'm not going to the hospital because I don't have health insurance. Well, you wouldn't need to go to the hospital if you didn't eat yourself to death, which is your fault. No one put that pizza in your mouth. You did. No one did that except you. So the fact that he literally pretty much killed himself from food and he couldn't go to the hospital, even though he didn't have health insurance, is because he made that choice and he did that to himself.
Yeah.
There's no one to blame but himself. He ate himself to that point. That was him. That was no one else's fault. That was not the media.
You can't even,
that was his fault.
You can't even blame Liz because even though that she was giving him food and everything like that, like she did multiple times throughout the movie was like, we're going to the hospital.
And he was like, no, I don't want to get in debt. Because he's trying to save his money for his daughter. And if he goes to the hospital and gets all that debt, he's going to have to use the money on the hospital bills. And he didn't want to do that. He wanted to give it all to his daughter. Well, as we'll say once again, he would not need to go to the hospital if he did not eat like a pig the whole, for months or years, however long it was. So you guys can say that's a lesson for you guys. You could literally save so much money on hospital bills in the future if you start eating better now. Because a lot of you guys don't realize that the stuff you're eating now is going to cost you in the future. It can cause you so many illnesses and diseases. So if you guys think that you're healthy now from eating all that pizza and junk food that you're eating now, well, in the future, one day you're going to regret this because when you get older and your body's not able to handle all the sugar and the carbs you keep eating all the time, one day you're going to need to go to the hospital and you're going to get diabetes. You're going to get all these different kinds of things happening to your joints and maybe need the physical therapy, which is even
have to
worse.
Get your stomach pumped and everything like that.
And that's going to happen because you keep eating all these American processed foods that are literally killing you very slowly. A lot of you guys think that you're healthy, but you're not. Just because you're not in the hospital now doesn't mean you're not going to be in the hospital in 5-10 years from now. So you guys need to get help now and start helping yourself by eating healthier. That's literally the biggest thing in the movie is Charlie did not have to die. He did not have to die at the end. Yeah. He did because he did that to himself. Unfortunately, I say that it's very unfortunate
to the actions that he made,
and he didn't want to go get help from the decision that he made because he couldn't pay. He didn't want to pay for it. He wouldn't have to do any of that if he didn't eat like that. It could have been all been avoided. He literally could have done a carnivore diet or keto, and he could have lost all that weight, and it'd be fine. It'd be no problem. Everybody wins. Yeah. But no, food was the killer in this movie. Food and depression and making bad decisions was the killer in this movie.
Yeah,
it was the actions that Charlie made this happen to himself. There's no one to blame but himself, and it is a very tragic story, unfortunately. But a lot of you guys can learn from this story by making better actions for yourself and making a better life and actually taking accountability for your own actions and making things right with yourself and start on your own journey. You could avoid so much pain in your future if you choose to wise up now and make better decisions immediately. Instead of eating the pasta and the cookies for dessert tonight, scrap that, eat some steak, and don't end up like Charlie. Don't do that.
Yeah, because and the thing is that everybody if they get into a situation like this, I mean, granted, I know a lot of people they'll eat when they're sad or whatever, but they won't like get that bad. They won't get that bad.
Yeah, most people get lucky and they just develop a huge gut over their pants and everything. So that's the usual.
Instead of becoming a ginormous blob. But in theory they really can. Like that is a thing that they can do. But I feel like a lot of people they see, I guess sometimes they'll see the problem before it gets worse, and sometimes they will fix it. But there are people that won't. There are people that they won't see a problem until it's way too late. until they can't breathe properly, they can't walk on their own without needing assistance from like a walker or from someone else, and they can't bend over, they can't do pretty much, they can't really do anything. And it's a lot of these people they won't see the issues until it gets to that point where it's pretty much the point of no return. But uh, and it's all based upon their actions. If they want to eat to get upset, if they're upset or whatever, it happens. But like the thing is that that this is the reason why you're doing this, and you're like, okay, I can't do this anymore. I can't let myself be upset, and I can't let myself overeat like this. I just can't let that happen. And people be like, okay, I'm good. I can, I got to snap out of it, and I got to fix this. But there are people like Charlie who just can't. They can't get out of it, and it's on them because they see the problem, but they don't do anything about the problem. They don't actively try to fix the problem. They just let it consume them, literally. And they pretty much put themselves in the situation like Charlie, where he overeats, can't go to the hospital because he doesn't want to spend money on bills. He doesn't have health insurance because life sucks, and
Yeah.
and all because of like something traumatic that happens with men. I'm gonna say this with men. Traumatic situations are supposed to make us better. They're supposed to make us stronger and supposed to help us push on. But some people, I'll say some males, they have some sort of traumatic thing happen to them, and they can't get out, they can't push through, they can't push beyond it. They get stuck in it, and it becomes an issue, just like with Charlie. So him losing Alan, his boyfriend or whatever, uh, was the traumatic experience. And normally what a male would do is, this is a tragic situation, but where can I go from here? What can I do to make myself, what can I do to preserve my person's legacy, and to make me feel good even though that they're not here anymore, and to continue making myself stay positive in their, with their legacy or their image and stuff like that. That's what a man would do. That's what a man would do. A male would do exactly what Charlie would do: be sitting at home, be upset, eat their life away, and just shut everyone else out. Don't go to the hospital,
Yeah.
and just be sad.
Yeah, and the concept of asking for help is very important because Charlie could have asked for help. He could have asked people around him to maybe get him a personal trainer, or maybe get someone he can talk to about his problems, and maybe he can overcome a situation. But Charlie decided to fight his battle alone, which many guys out there do. A lot of people don't have friends. Let's just be honest. A lot of you guys out there do not have friends to talk to. A lot of you guys are afraid to talk to your family members. You're afraid to talk to your coworkers. You're afraid to talk to anybody about your problems. And due to that, when you do not have a good system around you, your mind goes on self-destructive mode. You guys isolate yourself, consume all these sedative things, food, social media, TV, movies, stupid woke stuff, you name it, you consume it, and it literally deteriorates your brain. And a lot of you, the fact that you don't have friends, you don't have people you can talk to, you're afraid to talk to people, you don't want to get into discussions about yourself because you're afraid to talk about yourself, because you're afraid that people will reject you for the decisions that you're making. And instead of facing any possible criticism, you decide to fight your battle alone. Charlie, for the most part, decided to fight his battle alone. And since he fought it alone without friends, he had Liz, but she'd only come by once in a while, and she did not really offer too much of a solution. She could have maybe got some personal trainers over there, force him out of his house. I don't care. Get an ambulance, get these guys to carry him out, whatever you got to do, whatever it takes. I think she could have been a better friend.
Yeah,
But
she also didn't believe that he actually had a lot of money, and you find out it through the movie that he had like $120,000 that he had saved for Ellie.
he was a teacher, so
and
he was making teacher salary, which whatever
is whatever.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
I guess in Idaho it's different, but who knows? But the thing was is that he had this account like hidden, and he told Ellie about it to try to make her stay to like get to know him, like for them to get to know each other more, and for him to help her with like her essays or whatever. Um, and eventually in the movie, like it's made known that this account exists and he has all this money, and Liz pretty much feels betrayed because uh he had all this money, but like he
wasn't
won't
going to be for him.
yeah, like he won't go to the hospital, he won't make himself feel better. He didn't help Liz when she, I guess, had like whatever issues with like her truck or whatever, and stuff like that. So she felt betrayed, and like it's just a sad thing. But he, like you said in the movie, like it's not like that money was never supposed to be for him. It was supposed to be for Ellie. He always put Ellie and Ellie first, or he'd always tried to put everyone else first and not himself. And
You do have to put your well-being first because
yeah,
it's going to affect those around you if you're not your best self at all times, or at least trying to be. And he also, Charlie, once again, as I said before, he didn't have the rights. He didn't have a lot of support around him, not too much. And he went down his dark spiral, and he ended up, paying the ultimate price. And so, you guys can take away that sometimes it's okay to ask for help. Sometimes it's okay to seek guidance, seek a mentor, someone who has already completed the goal that you want to complete. And then you can get guidance from them, even though sometimes it may cost money or it may cost time. Sometimes it is worth it. Journey does not always have to be fought alone. There are people that can help you on your journey. Like, think of any quest, like maybe in certain video games or certain movies or real life things. Like in certain quests, people go to different stations during their journey and they get help from different people along the ride, and those people make better. Like, I mean, think of a movie, think of a tale, think of an old story where someone had to go on a journey, and along the way they met the blacksmith, they met they met the what the I'm gonna
well,
dead thought there.
like I think of Shrek 2, where I specifically think of Shrek 2, where like because Puss in Boots was trying to kill him, but they pretty much but Shrek is like huge, so like he's just like he just picks him up, and
Then they get an ally.
they pretty much gain an ally, and then they all the three of them fight to get that specific potion that makes them sexy and shit. So that's at least what I think for what your description.
Yeah, but guys, basically, it's okay to get help, and it's okay to like actually try to get different people to help you in certain situations. But Charlie fought the battle alone; did not work out for him. So there's a lot of things going on in the movie that you can actually use to help you in real life. There are certain life lessons that if you watch this movie and hopefully you don't cry throughout the whole thing, because it could be very easy to cry.
Yeah,
through a
it's
movie
very
like this.
sad.
You
Super
feel
sad.
the pain of these characters, which once again is why Brendan Fraser won Best Actor at the Oscars, because literally this movie can be so real at times.
Yeah.
And it really makes you dive into, you feel like you're actually there. That's why I think the movie is as good as it is. It may not be the best story ever. It might be some things, but it could be a very real situation that many can go through, and it can cost them. People's mental health these days are at an all-time low. People are very lonely, and we are going through one of the biggest some of the biggest obesity levels in America right now, and we're in trouble. Things are like it's not funny. Just because we call people fat on our live streams, it's not to be mean or cruel. It's because it's so true that if you go to a local ShopRite, people are huge. Like, go to your local grocery store. Everyone has a gut. It's not, and you guys will laugh at this and think it's funny, or you're going to think I'm being mean, but it's true. It doesn't take away from the fact that when I do go to the grocery store, pretty much everyone has a gut. Literally, we are corrupting ourselves, our body chemistry, our mind. We're sedating ourselves. We are corrupting ourselves constantly, and there's very few people that are speaking to fight against it. And it partly is the media and society's fault, but it's also our fault for allowing ourselves to go down these dark holes and to make ourselves so unhealthy. We do it to ourselves. The TV commercials do not put the food in our mouths. We see it, we get addicted to it, and we can't stop eating, and we can't stop being depressed, and it ends up having dangerous consequences. So people could take this movie and you can take the lessons from it to not make those kind of bad decisions. We can make ourselves better by maybe trying to learn something here instead of just, oh, poor Charlie, turn the TV off, go back to eating the bagel, go back to eating the Cheetos, go back to eating the Oreo cookies, go back to eating all these horrible foods that are making you worse. Going through YouTube videos all day, scrolling through TikTok all day, just to try to get your sensation instead of reading a book, maybe getting some knowledge, learning some history, or even going outside, going for a walk, meditating, going to the beach, going to see some friends, having a good time, socializing, becoming better, going to the gym, doing some push-ups, instead of doing all these healthy things, you decide to lock your way. You lock yourself in the house, you don't do anything, and then you complain on social media how you're miserable and you're unhealthy when you make the decision to be unhealthy yourself. So take away from this movie all that you can. Any other last thoughts, Mike?
Yeah, I mean, you said a lot of the things that I was going to say, but I just want to like reinforce that the actions that you make have consequences, but you can take actions against the actions that you've made to reverse the consequences that you're causing to yourself. If you can see that you're having, some sort of issue, it don't be afraid to talk to people to get help. Don't be afraid. Don't even be, you shouldn't even be afraid to try to fix the problem yourself if you feel like you can. If you know and you see that you have an issue, if you see that there's a problem, it's probably best to get help, and it's probably best to not do it alone. But if you feel like you can do it, at least you could start it alone and then get help. Like, by all means, don't let yourself get to a point where there is no return and you're going to suffer. Maybe not in the same way as maybe Charlie. You might, depending on the context of the situation, it might be a little different. But I'm just talking about in a general aspect. If you can at least start to fix the problems that you make for yourself, then you're on a path of positivity, and that's the best thing that you can do.
Yeah, guys. So what we're saying here, it's not a joke. We're not trying to. Well, we don't. It is entertainment and
Yeah, no.
education for a certain point of view. But what a lot of the messages that we're saying in this live stream, it's not a joke. Take it seriously. Start improving your life now. This movie will literally make you rethink everything that you've been doing up to this point. So with that said,
I recommend this movie to literally everyone. If you haven't watched this movie and we just spoiled it for you, just watch it anyway, please.
yeah, watch it anyway, just so
Please
you can get a
watch it.
feel of what we're actually saying. The things we say when we don't try to make fun of people when we talk about weight. We know it's a serious problem, and we know there are dangerous consequences, but we're saying it for a reason. We're trying to get the message out for you guys to improve your life. It's not a joke. We're not trying to be mean by calling people fat. It's just the reality, and we don't want people to suffer from the unfortunate choices that they make. Blame it on society, blame it whatever you want, but a lot of the times the decisions that you make cost you your life at times, and it costs you your weight, it costs you your mental health, but you can make decisions to stop that right now. So after you watch this video, take a look around you in the dark room or wherever you might be, and get out into the light. Start making some positive decisions immediately, and keep watching our videos for more content. So with that said, like the video, subscribe to the channel if you've not already, donate to the Cash App, link in the description below. It's not a joke, and make your life better now. See you guys in the next video.